Hi, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to another edition of Unplugged. And today we are going to host someone who, I've never seen this amount of excitement before on my social media handles. He's a friend of mine, and his name is Christopher Onome Opoko. He's a lot of things, a lot of good things, and a lot of people want to know what's happening. We've had so much, how do I call it, many inquiries, people asking questions. So I'm going to bring him on so that we can just start right away. Okay. Hey, Chris, there you
Hey,
are.
I found
Hey,
myself
how you doing?
eventually. Very well, thank you.
Great
And
to
how are
see
you
you.
today? Good
I'm very
morning.
well, thank you. Welcome to Unplugged, and I just want to say hi to everyone. Welcome everyone who's joining us for today's edition of Unplugged. And thank you, Chris. I haven't been to your restaurant this year. Amazing. I mean, you've done so
Yeah,
much. You always renovate.
but we went a bit
You renovate
extreme
every
this.
year.
We went a bit extreme this. December. I wanted a thoroughly or a perfectly fine dining restaurant, so I took some time, did some
Yes,
upgrades. I did me. That's what you say.
I can see. I can see the details on the ceiling, and
Yes,
I love the chairs. I really love the chairs. Is that orange?
that's orange. That's our trademark color, orange and purple.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. I kind of focus more on the purple than the orange.
Yeah, but the
Great colors.
orange is actually our trademark color. Okay.
Well, Chris, thank you for sitting down with me. I know there are quite a few people who have expressed their amazement that you've agreed to sit down with someone, but you need to tell them that we are buddies, that we go
Okay,
far.
well,
You
I can
know.
see an Ijoma Arujuba. Do you mind if I put on my glasses? I can see an Ijoma Arujuba. She says we're excited because we love Chris's
um,
food. Thank you so much, Ijoma.
yes,
Um,
Chris,
I hardly
Chris,
get to meet you
I
one
have
on one.
greeted them all for you.
Okay, that's fine.
On my behalf, and on behalf of Chris, welcome. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming in today. You know, thank you. Okay, so Chris, let me start off by asking you now. I'm in your parents' shoes now. Pay good money for you to go to university and study physics and geosciences. What was the goal? What was the vision at the time?
Okay.
What did you
Well,
want
you're
to
not
do with
fully in my
that?
parents' shoes now, but I'll just translate
Uh,
for you.
yeah, just manage me like that.
I'll translate for you. My
Okay.
father calls me a waste of money, literally.
Okay. Okay, that's what he said at the time.
That's what he said at that time.
At
But
that time.
now,
Okay.
but now he's looking for every excuse for me to come and cater or cook somewhere. Growing
Okay.
up, my father actually wanted me to be a medical doctor, and
We
because
all
when I
had
was
that.
young, yes, we all had that. But
I don't know how my
he had
father thought I'd be a medical doctor.
he had these big dreams that I was going to study medicine because I was really good at
Okay.
sciences. And I experimented with animals growing up. The time he spends,
How do you mean?
with the time he spent a vet doctor, I had a lot of pets that, or if I just see a wounded
Okay.
animal or a
Okay.
fish that was limpy, I would try and care and nurture them back to good health.
Okay.
So he eventually said, study medicine. Then I was about 15. From when I was 11, my mom used to do a lot of baking and cooking in the house, and I used to wake up with her about 4. I would join in the baking. Then for the Kingsley, if you grew up in, if for those of us that grew up in the Delta region, we had this set of shops called Leventis and Kingsway. So she
Oh
did all
yeah,
the pastries
I know
for
this.
Leventis and yeah, she did all the pastries for Leventis and Kingsway. So we're talking like 400
Okay.
different types of pastries every day. So I always joined her in getting it done. And as I went along,
Okay.
when I was in secondary school, in my SSC, which is my senior secondary, I wanted to do home economics, but I knew my father would kill me. So I stuck to do agriculture instead. But I was
Okay.
the one who taught all my classmates, the girls, and I think there were no guys. I think one guy. I taught them how to cook their food for their exams. I prepped them for home economics and everything. And when it came down to writing our final exams, I told myself, I said, Christopher, if you pass all this thing, there's no way in heaven this man will not make sure you study medicine. And I thought to
Don't tell me
myself,
you failed deliberately.
yes, I did. I went into the exam hall, and the day of
Oh my
chemistry,
word.
I knew that with physics, you can get away with studying medicine, but with chemistry, you needed chemistry. So I sat down in the hall for 1 hour. I didn't put pen to paper for 1 minute. I was there for 1 hour. After an hour,
Really?
yes, my father doesn't know this. This is the first time I'm saying it aloud.
Okay, now he knows. Now he knows.
Now he knows. Now he knows. So this is the first time I'm saying this aloud, and I sat down for 1 hour. I didn't write anything, and I submitted my exam sheets. And the WAEC invigilator looked at me and said, "You didn't write anything." I said, "Sir, I don't know anything to write." He said, "You're going to fail." I said, "Sir, I can't copy, I can't steal, so it's okay." So I left it. And that was how I knew I had gotten an F9 or absent in chemistry. Then the next day was
Chemistry.
physics.
I think you're frozen.
Yeah,
Okay.
are we on? I had a
Oh
very good
yeah,
teacher,
yeah. We're
Mrs.
back on.
Wonsu.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she taught us physics in secondary school then. And she was very good, and I liked my teacher. So as such, I always had nothing less than an A in,
Okay.
in physics. So when the results came, it was like, look at you, you have to do 1 more year. That. I'm like, no, it's not happening. Let me just go and do pre-degree first while I'm writing WAEC again or GCE again. With my mom's conviction, he agreed, and I got into Delta State University, and I started with pre-sciences. After level, when it was time for me to choose, I did write the chemistry. I got a C, but I didn't reveal it. I told him I'd rather study physics.
Oh, your father is so going to get you.
So I told him I'd rather study physics, but that maybe after physics, I can always go and do a postgraduate and then study medicine. And he grudgingly agreed. For the first 2 years, it was hell, but that's it. So I studied physics 4 years, Delta State University. I graduated, and then I went to University of Legon, and I did a master's in physics, geosciences options. And after that, I came back and I was posted for youth service to Port Harcourt. That's how it started.
So how many years have you been in Port Harcourt?
Since 1998.
Okay. I'm not even going
1998,
to
and
try
that
and.
makes it
I'm not even going. That's a long time, eh?
22 years.
Oh well, this is your city. This is your
22.
city.
Yes, I am an indigene now.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. But did you
After youth
practice at all?
service, yeah.
Did you do anything with your geoscience degree? So at what
Then
point
it
did
was
you
called
think
SPDC.
I'd rather be cooking?
Yes,
At what
and
point did you think I'd rather be cooking?
while I was working in Shell, after my youth service, I was retained. I was among those that were retained. And I actually worked in Shell for a year and 6 months. In between that time, I had friends who knew me from secondary school, university. I'd done a lot of, we're calling me to cook for them, weekend food, do cakes and do everything. So I was juggling, working and cooking. I had to be at work at 7 a.m. And on one particular occasion, I got into the premises about 7. By the time I got to my desk, it was 5 minutes past 7. And my immediate boss went ballistic on me. He was livid and he was just screaming and screaming and screaming. And I'm like, I don't understand. Why is this man screaming now? Back then, they had contracts and they had full staff. I was a full staff, but he was my boss and he was a contractor. And I was wondering, what is going on? Why are you screaming at me like this? And he kept on going there, and I sat on my desk and I'm like, you know what? This is not what I want to do. I'm not happy coming here. And like, joke, I started gathering my things on my table. I started at exactly 8:40 that same day, 8:45 that morning. I picked up my things, put them in my bag, and I walked away, and I didn't listen to anyone. I was in a very fragile state then too, because I had just lost my mom. So it was a bit overwhelming for me. So I just took myself to the premises, got home. After that, I started doing research on catering schools. I researched, I checked, I found a lot. I saw some in the UK, I saw some in Europe, saw some in the US, and I thought to myself, okay, let me do Paris. They say Paris is the city of love, and I like to cook with passion. I love what I do. And I'm like, let me try and imbibe that culture. Yeah, let me try and imbibe that culture into my food. So I chose Paris. I just went online, looked at ticket prices. I was able to get KLM then that was willing to drop me in Paris. And I left in 3 days, closed up my house without telling anybody, only my sister, my immediate senior. And I left in 3 days.
That's the other Margaret in your life, right?
Yes, that one and my immediate senior, Sonia.
Senior. Okay.
So I packed myself and I got there. And they called me and said, have you arrived? Yes. So 2 days later, I was in Le Cordon Bleu and we talked. And I was concerned about the language. But then they said they're English taught and I could go at my pace. Long and short run, I started Le Cordon Bleu for 3 months and my father didn't know where I was. He just assumed I was in Port Harcourt. I was working.
Port Harcourt.
Then his friend who was there now told him, we haven't seen your son in a while, and they've been looking for him, saying he's been MI, missing in action. And he called me, the number wasn't going through. Eventually, he sent me an email. My father is a lawyer, so he can be very legal and put things very straight. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So he sent me an email. So I called him and I said, well, I'm in Paris and I'm in catering school. The first thing I heard was, what do you? Then he slowed down and said, you're in catering school? I said, yes. Where? In Paris? Yes. The first thing that came out to me was, are you legal there? I said, yes, I came with a Schengen visa, but they are going to regularize to be a student visa shortly. He says, no problems, you are fine? I said, yes, I'm fine. And the last question was, is this what you really want to do? And I said, yes, this is what I really want to do. Then he goes, okay.
Well, Chris, I want to now use that to just say that, did you find peace when you decided, I'm going to go to Cordon Bleu and catering school?
Well,
because Cordon Bleu is like the highest kind of culinary school.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I found a purpose in my life. I found a reason to wake up at 5 a.m. and go to
Okay.
classes. I found a reason to go thrift shopping, looking for antiques and looking for different things. I found a reason to taste other people's meals and try and replicate or interpret it in my own way. So I would say, yes, I found peace 120%.
Okay.
I found peace 120%. Yeah.
The other question I'd like, we have quite a few questions, but I want to start off with the compliment that a friend of yours and a friend of mine posted on Facebook, sorry, on Instagram. And that's Bertha of Boxed Expressions. You know Bertha, right? You remember Bertha?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I remember her.
And she said you pour love into your cooking. I thought that was very poetic.
I
Has
think
anybody
she's
told
very, you're actually going to make me cry now because my eyes are
no,
watering
don't
because,
cry.
because the person who has told me that is my father. 6 years ago,
Okay.
I went to Warri and he said, please, can you make me, there's a dish in my place called, in Delta State called a siri. It's eaten with banga soup, but it's actually
Okay.
starch and ripe boiled plantain pounded together. It's somewhat like the River State onunu.
Something like onunu. Okay.
Onunu, yes. So he said, please, can you make me a siri? Since your mom died, I've not had that.
Oh.
I was really touched and I made it for him and I made the banga soup. Then he looked at me after I finished it and he said, you cook just like your mother.
Oh.
And my father is a very good cook.
Okay. So this is actually in your DNA, isn't it?
I suppose so. Yes, I suppose so.
Yeah.
I suppose it is.
Interesting. I didn't know that about your dad.
My dad is a very good cook.
Wow. Wow.
My mom, being where she was from, had to learn lots of dishes from my dad.
Okay. Okay, your mom
Like
was Ghanaian, right?
My mom was Ghanaian, yes. So she had to learn banga, owo, ukodo, all the Delta dishes. So he actually taught her. He actually taught her.
Okay. There's somebody else says you're a food scientist, and there's somebody else who said that you're fierce. Did they say you're fierce? I think they said you're. Oh my goodness, let me look. It's one of your friends. He said Chris has always been a terror. That's DSA. I'm just going to move on because I think I agree with him. Did you hear me, Chris? Or are you maintaining? Hi, Chris. Okay, I think Chris has frozen, and it's been raining all day in Port Harcourt, so I think he'll come back on. Okay, he's back. Okay, he's coming back on. Yes, Ibi, I agree with you. Most people yes, I think most people will be scandalized that a man will want to be a chef, even now. Yes. Yes, you're right, Uche. I'm still trying to add Chris back on, and it's not happening yet. We're going to try. If we can't get him back on, then we will go off and come back on. So I'm just going to speak to your comments for now. Yes, he got this from his parents, but following his passion is very important. Yes, parents need to align with their children's calling. Um, yes, but I don't know whether as parents we actually remember that it's not our vision, it's our child's vision. I don't know if we really remember to sit down and ask them, what do you really want to do? Or a whole other come back. I hope you can hear me. You look a bit frozen. Move a little bit.
Back on now.
Okay, great, great. Hi, Sandra. Welcome, welcome. Yes, Chris is amazing, but Chris, I need to move on very quickly. Goody Chikwem wants to know about
Can you
your
hear me?
success story. Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Okay, welcome back. Okay.
Okay.
She wants to know your success story, but I'll just say, what's your story? What was your story as Margaret? How did you start out?
Okay. So I got back from Paris in 2002, and then I started cooking.
Okay.
Doing events for people, individual weddings, birthdays. I was going everywhere. And one night, Margaret, the other Margaret, Mrs. Obilo, was hosting,
Yes.
in quotes, she had VIP guests, and she said, Uncle Christopher, please come and do the cooking for me. And I'm like, I want to sleep. She said, come and do it for me, please. It was for 6 people. So I went there. I said, okay, get everything ready. So I came to the house and I made everything, set the table and everything. I'm very anal with table setting. Set the table, put all the food on platters,
Okay.
and moved it out. Eventually, her guests were seated about 6:45, and they all had dinner. I waited till about 8 because they were eating and drinking and chatting. So I went back, drove back home, and I slept. And about 2 a.m., my phone rings, and I'm like, what is this and who is this? I ignored the first ring.
Time.
The second time, I got another ring, and I said, okay. I answered, hello. They're like, can you come to Calabar? And I'm like, Calabar? I said, when? He said,
Just
today,
like
this
that.
morning, just like that. Said today, and I'm like, okay, today. I said, who am I coming to see? When you get to Calabar, call this number. So I said, okay, fine. So the next day, me and my friend Edward, who is also a chef too, we drove to Calabar. And when we got to Odukwani Junction, I called the number and I said, we're approaching Calabar. He said, make your way to Government House. And I went there. Lo and behold, who was my meeting with? It was with the then First Lady of the State, Onari Duke. She happened to be one of the guests who had
Okay.
eaten the previous nights. And she said, Cross River State is holding Miss World. I need you to do the catering in 4 days' time. And I'm like, I don't understand, ma. She said, Miss World, 4 days, all the conditionality. And I'm like, okay, yes, we can. Said, in 4 days, what's your charge? And I told her. She said, okay. She called somebody, they gave me an advance, say, go and come back. I said, no problem, ma.
Wow.
As I speak to you, as at that time, I don't think I had up to 200 dinner plates. I didn't have an
So what did you
industrial
do?
gas cooker, but what I can tell you I had camp gas. I had one industrial gas cooker, which I bought then. I had 2 camp gases with the burners on top. I went the typical Ghanaian route, which was charcoal cooking. I had 4 coal pots and firewood. And I moved all the small boys in my vicinity and my neighbors and a couple of friends, about 8 of us, and we all went to Calabar. And we started cooking in the space they gave us with firewood, with charcoal, with everything. And we cooked.
No,
I
hold on.
cooked from
This is from cooking for your sister.
for my sister. Yes, the guest, my
And
sister's
then
guest was
next thing you're
Onari
cooking
Duke
for Miss World.
from Miss World.
Okay. Okay.
I borrowed plates. Then I had these plates that I borrowed white plates. I borrowed the ones that had floral designs. I told my friend, I said, you know what, we'll put the white ones in front, put the floral ones at the back. We'll find a way to make it work and everything. And we cooked like 26 hours straight and straight to the
Wow.
banquet hall, set up the buffet stand, and the guests came and they ate. My heart was still in my mouth until the current Miss World, then I think she was from an African country or something. Can't remember her exact country. But she came up, or one of the contestants, she came up and said, thank you so much, Cross River State. Thank you so much, Mrs. Duke, for hosting us. We've loved our stay there. And oh my God, the food was fantastic.
Wow. And how did you feel about that feedback?
I felt like exploding.
Wow.
That was what got me through. As soon as she said that, I told my guys, I said, please tidy up. I'm going home.
Let's go. Let's go.
And I went to the hotel and I slept. Somehow things started coming. It was happening. And finally, in 2005, the owners of Arik Air daughter was getting married and they wanted me to cook. I was recommended for them. And they said, where's your office? And I told the lady, I don't have an office. I cook from my house. She said, how can you be cooking for your house? And there's so much buzz and noise about you like this. I'm like, well, I enjoy what I do. She said, okay, do me a trial in my house. So I cooked and I delivered to her. And she assumed I was going to let it go for free. And I'm like, no, ma, that was a testing for 20 people. You're going to pay me. Because she was very snobbish.
Okay.
And I just felt, well, she had
she
to
was
pay
particular.
for that.
Let's call it particular.
Okay, well, she was particular. So we did that and we got the job and we catered for the daughter's wedding. After that, I told myself, I said, people are going to keep asking me, where's your office? Where's your office? And I'll never be taken seriously. So I applied for a bank loan from my bank and I started Margaret in December 2006. It wasn't easy. There are times where I sat down on the ground and I used to cry and I said, why did you take this move? But then I guess the passion and the love I have for cooking was what actually sustained me. I may not make a lot of money, but when I meet people who have had something I cooked and they tell me, fantastic, you being inclusive, Auntie Julia, you and I became friends as a result of our
Over
love
food.
for food.
Over
food. That was how we became friends. And yeah, please.
Okay, there's a friend of online, Marcus Ododi. I want to read what he just said. He said, as far back as 2001, Chris was the one that made and presented my wedding cake. Guess where I'm going to cry. He's simply amazing in the culinary world. Chris, your friends have come to honor you. I am proud to be your friend as well. Are you crying? Is he crying? Are you
no,
crying?
I'm not crying. I'm not crying.
Okay.
I'm
okay.
not crying, but it's very humbling when people you've done things for years ago and in the past meet up with you. I actually met somebody 2 months ago who told me, you did my wedding. And I'm like, ma, when did you get married? She said, I got married 17 years ago. And honest to God, I couldn't remember.
Oh. Well, guys, from 17 years ago till my daughter, who's 13, she had a birthday not too long ago, and she insisted it was only Uncle Chris's food. And trust me, it was only Uncle Chris delivered the food to her. He doesn't joke with any client, whether the client is a VVIP. I think all your clients are VVIPs to you. I think so. That's
I
because
take
you
it
truly
personal.
do this thing with love. Yes. You truly do
Yes, I
this thing
take
with
it
love.
personal. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, Chris, anyone listening to you would think it's been just a smooth ride, just
I
moving like
wish.
that. Look, I know there have been times when we've talked, and we talk a lot. We really talk a lot, you know. And there are times when you've done certain experiments which didn't quite work out. I won't call them
Yes.
failures, but could you speak about those? At least one?
After Margaret's opened here on Transamadi,
Yeah.
some people, Nigerians, typical Nigerians, and well, for most of us, we're very impatient in waiting for food. Because the
Yes.
motto behind Margaret is we try and make everything as fresh as possible from the scratch.
Fresh.
So I
Yes.
found out,
Yes.
yes, I found out there was a need for people they wanted already made food. So I ventured, not a mistake, learning curve, I would call it, a couple of blocks away from
Yeah.
where Margaret was. I ventured into a quick serve, which was you just come in, you see the food, and you buy and go. Even at that, it ran for about 6 months. And after that, I said, no, there's no need. It's spoiling my brand. It's spoiling what I believe in with regards to food. And I shut it down because I couldn't be at two places at the same time. The staff who were there would ignore the food and sometimes let it dry up. So my friends who would go there, or people I knew who went there, would complain that what happened, the food was dry. And I sat down and I thought, and I said, okay, you know what? Instead of having this, let's shut it down. So we closed it and concentrated on Margaret's. Then my father's getting old, so I took a risk 5 years ago and I acquired a property in Warri and I opened up something small like Margaret's there. For the first 6 to 8 months while I was there, it was fantastic. It was going on well. As soon as I left, the same issues, the same complaints, the same everything. And I kept on telling myself, is it that people will see me as a failure if I don't have a branch? Or it's better I have one branch and focus on that branch and deal with it, deal with all the problems with that. So I again closed up that branch. And after that, I said, well, that's the end of it. Margaret is going to remain one, and it's never going to have a second or somewhere. I've had people approach me, do a franchise, and I tell them, no, I'm sorry, I can't do it. Because as long as you're having that name, I can't really control what is going on there. So I won't call them failures. I'll call them pieces of the learning and growing experience that have made me or helped me to be who I am right now.
Hello. Hi, Chris. I think, Chris, we went off for a minute. Thank you for staying with us. We just went off for a minute. How were you? Goody, you sent so many questions. Okay, I'll need to get Chris back online, okay? Mommy, hi. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for watching. Thank you everybody for staying on. Thank you for talking to each other. You all have you've become great friends. Hi, Mommy. Hi, babe. That's my baby sister. I'm waiting for Chris to come back online. Um, well, we're unplugged. What can I say? It happens almost every time. You know, we get untethered. So I'm waiting for him. Can you tell him that we're offline? Tell him we're offline. Yes, mommy, he makes nice every kind of rice. He makes every kind of food, every kind of food. And his mom is from Ghana, so I'm sure he can do some great food for you too. You're still waiting for him. Okay. I think he's coming back. You need to call him. No, call him. Yes, Ada, I'm really, really happy you joined. And I think you need to call, ask him more questions. And mommy, Lara is saying hi to you. You guys are just having a party here. You guys are just having a party here. Hi, hi, Gloria. Hi, hi. Okay, Isobe says we had the magnetic banga soup over 10 years ago and we are hooked on Chris's food and pastries. Yes. The other day I went to see him and the bread was just out of, my goodness, it was out of this world. It was out of this world. I'm still trying to get him. Sister Zenzi, it seems that we are going to ask and answer the questions ourselves. Or if you all will give me 1 minute, let me go offline completely and come back on. Okay? Please. He's trying to log back in. So let me go offline and then come back on. Just give me a hot minute. Thank you.